Hi Cancers, happy birthday and welcome to your July 2019 Astrology 33 reading. Before I forget, if you want to book a reading with me, donate to the channel, or follow me on Instagram, check out the description part of the video for more info on that. And also, I'll be doing a giveaway for someone for a free reading, so check out the description of the video for that as well, as far as, what you need to do in order to enter for that. Alright? And aside from that, the spread itself here looks like a pretty positive spread. The one thing I will have to say though is we'll see this oracle card here, the first one I pulled for you guys, looks like it might contradict the theme of the main spread, so we'll see if that's the case or not. But yeah, for those of you who haven't been watching my channel before, basically we have a Celtic cross spread in front of us, and then after we get through that main spread, we're going to look at some oracle cards, and also you guys got two mudra cards. So I usually pull one for every sign, but you guys got two this month. So, maybe that happened for a reason. So we'll go with that. And let's just get started with the main spread. So, in the main situation position, you guys got the Six of Cups. So the Six of Cups is definitely a card of reconciliation. People tend to make that jump automatically to think it's romantically, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that. Usually it is someone that you have known for a while, though, so it's usually more of a long-standing connection. I personally refer to this card as the being the bigger person card. Just looking at the size difference between the two people, and the one who appears bigger in the actual artwork is the one who's actually, extending that cup to the other person. So, that could be what this is saying too. If there was a situation where maybe you feel you were in the wrong, maybe this is encouraging you to extend the olive branch to that person. Or if you feel that you were slighted by someone else, it looks like this month they might be extending that olive branch to you. Trying to think if there's anything else that's coming to mind with this, but not really. I mean, that's pretty much it. It doesn't have to be anything major. Like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be related to romance, although in your June love reading, actually, there was definitely a theme of reconciliation. So if that's a theme that's playing out for you, you could definitely check out that video as well. Maybe it'll give you a little bit more information on the whole situation there. All right, in the challenger obstacle position, we got the Justice card and the Seven of Pentacles. So this is actually a Taurus card, technically. And then this is the Major Arcana card for Libra. So, maybe this could be a timeline, for example. So if this is someone that you had a falling out with in some way, shape, or form, maybe it happened around the time of, towards the end of Taurus season, so mid-May. Maybe that's when the conflict happened. Justice in the challenger obstacle position, though, that could be coming across two ways. It could just be saying that, up to this point, the challenge might have been for the two of you to actually have that balance in the connection, and maybe now you're finally getting that. But for some of you could find that that's a continuing theme, even with the reconciliation. So, if we even look at the artwork in this card, right, it could just be pointing to that, saying that, okay, it feels like one person, is always doing that, right? So if there's constant conflicts between the two of you, let's say, you might feel like, let's say it's you feel like, oh, you're always the one who has to be the bigger person, right? So, in a more negative way, if we had to put a more negative twist to it, because we already spoke about the more positive ways this could play out, since the Justice card isn't a challenge position, that could just be you coming to that realization that, you might be like, all right, well, whenever there's an argument between the two of us, I'm always the one who has to be the bigger person, right? Or maybe it's the person you're dealing with who feels that way. And whoever might feel that way with this Seven of Pentacles energy, they might be reconsidering, is it even worth it, right? Like, that's how I view this card typically. It's someone who's reevaluating, okay, it's taken me a lot of work to get to this point. Do I want to continue to put that work in, or should I just move on? So that could be what's at play there with the the Justice card in the challenge position. All right, in the foundation position, we have the Ten of Cups. So definitely seems like it would lean more towards this being more of a positive reconciliation if you factor in the Ten of Cups, right? I mean, this is, the card that represents having that happy family life, peaceful and joyous relationship. So, especially if this is someone that's coming back around, maybe this is again about growth and maybe saying that in the past there was that struggle to get balance. And in the more positive way that those cards could be playing out, that could be saying that now, whatever took place between the two of you, whatever falling out you might have had, maybe that was the time apart needed for the other person to realize that, hey, you know what, yeah, maybe I haven't been putting in my fair share, and maybe now they're realizing that they should do that. And maybe even, they might still view it as it's going to take some work to do so, right, with that Seven of Pentacles there, but this could just be saying that now they're finally willing to do that work. And then the only, if we have to look at this from another angle, what I say with the Ten of Cups too, though, is, it's like that up in the clouds view of a connection too. So keep that in mind too. Try to make sure that you have a realistic and grounded view of the connection, because that could be what's happening as well. If you have like an idealized version of what the connection actually is, when you hit those bumps in the road, you might feel like it's doom and gloom, where really it could just be saying, no, you could still get this, but it just might take a little bit more work than you're thinking of. So something to keep in mind there. In the past position, we have the Devil card. So this is actually the major arcana card that represents Capricorn, which is your opposite sign. So one way that this could be playing out is this could just be pointing to all of those transits you guys have going on. I'm actually recording this in the middle of June, so technically the sun isn't in your sign yet. But for those of you who were to watch this in July, for example, having this in the past position could just be pointing to those tough transits you guys had with Mars moving through your sign. It's actually opposing Saturn at the time I'm recording this. Then it's going to oppose Pluto around the 21st or so, I believe, of June, and then that's going to last a few days. So those are pretty tough transits there. You're probably going to feel that. So this could just even be pointing to those transits right there, especially the one with Saturn, since, this is the card for Capricorn, and Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. So, that could just be what's going on. And with the Justice card, what stands out to me with, with the way it's laid out in the spread, right, in the challenger obstacle position, it's like that sword is actually pointed right at the Devil card. So for some of you, this could actually be representing, maybe if this is a karmic tie that you've been involved in, and maybe it's been very hard for you to separate from it. This is eclipse season, after all, that we're coming into for July. So, maybe this is saying that you finally get cut loose from that connection. That could be the way it's playing out. Or conversely, if this represents a person who, you feel has been doing you wrong, and most likely it would be in a romantic relationship dynamic, since Capricorn is your 7th house. That Justice card with that sword pointing at them, this could be saying that, they're going to get their karma in that regard. So maybe that's even what causes that reconciliation theme. Maybe they got their karmic payback and now they realize, oh, okay, I was in the wrong. And then maybe that's where, what brings them back around to try to repair the connection. All right, in the present position, we have the Six of Wands, the Five of Swords, and the Eight of Swords. So, the Six of Wands is viewed as a card of victory for the most part. It doesn't have to be anything major, though. Like the way I usually point it out to people, this is actually a card of Leo. So I even just look at this sometimes as, especially for you guys, this is your birthday season. This could just be as simple as, it's your birthday. People come out and wish you happy birthday. They celebrate. Maybe they go out and party with you, so it doesn't have to be a major victory in that regard. But, this could just be pointing to two different people as well in a conflict, because the reason why I say that is, you have the Six of Wands, which is a card of victory, the Five of Swords, which is a card of conflict, and usually it's a petty ego type of battle. And then the Eight of Swords energy here, to me, just represents someone feeling stuck. So that could just represent two people in a conflict, in that Five of Swords dynamic. One of them walks away feeling victorious. The other one feels like they're stuck. They feel like they definitely were on the losing end and, maybe can't move forward from it. So that's one way that could be playing out, especially if there was some kind of conflict, like I was saying to you guys. So maybe even right as you get into the month of July, maybe there's this conflict that's still being cleared away, because Mars will move into Leo. I think it might be in Leo, actually. Yeah, right as soon as July starts, it'll move into Leo. So maybe, this could be that one last conflict you might have with someone while Mars is still in your sign, and then maybe that's what brings the reconciliation theme about a little bit later in the month for some of you. But those are the energies that I see there. For others of you, this could just be saying that, you're feeling that victory, but maybe even possibly feeling a little bit guilty. So, maybe you're showing outwardly like, oh yeah, I feel good about the way that conflict played out, right? This ego conflict, but really inside, underneath it all, you're actually feeling a little bit bad about it. Especially you guys, you tend to be pretty empathic a lot of times, so you might, maybe with Mars in your sign, you might have, called someone out and it might have been overdue, but after the fact, you still might have felt a little bit bad about it. So that could be what's going on there. But either way, I don't think it's going to be anything too major. And that's just in the present energy too. So, like I said, it could just be something pretty brief. And I mean, for others of you, actually, another thing that I could see it playing out as too is, this could just be saying that, you're rising above someone's attempt to get involved in this petty type of conflict. So, like I was saying, if it was that karmic connection in the past where that was the theme, that you felt like, okay, there was always conflict, and you felt like you were always the one who had to be the bigger person and make make things right after the fact. Maybe this is you finally saying, someone's up to those same old tricks again. You just walk away from it. You're like, you know what? I'm not even dealing with that right now. And then they feel stuck because that used to be their power over you. Like, oh, okay, I get in an argument, start some drama, and then they end up being the ones to apologize. So maybe, that might make them realize, oh, well, now I have to, approach things from a different angle because my old tricks aren't working anymore, right? All right, in the near future position, we have the Hermit, and we have the Ten of Wands. So to me, what these two cards could be saying, especially if we look at the Hermit, if we look at his the position of his head, he's looking down and to the left. So, within this spread, to me, it's almost like he's looking right at that Ten of Cups. And the Hermit is usually about, going inward, really analyzing things, staying alone to yourself, and just really thinking things over on a deeper level. So if you guys remember what I was saying with the Ten of Cups energy here, this could also represent sometimes an overly idealized vision of a connection. So maybe this is you actually coming to that realization now. You have that deeper thought about the connection, and then you realize, wait, well, I was seeing it as the Ten of Cups, but really it was more like a Ten of Wands, right? Like maybe it was a lot more burdensome, especially for those of you, like I said, if you felt like there was these constant conflicts, but then you were always the one who had to be the bigger person to fix things, right? So maybe you're like, you know what? I was viewing it this way, but now that I've looked at it a little bit deeper, that karmic connection seems to have broken apart, that karmic tie, like we were saying for some of you, if the Justice card is like, that sword cuts away those chains from the Devil card. Now you might just be seeing the situation more clearly, and you're like, you know what, this was just a burden, this was a hassle. And, for some of you, that could just be you saying that it's not worth your time anymore. That Seven of Pentacles energy, like I was saying, reevaluating, hey, do I even want to continue this connection, right? So that could be the way it's playing out. And then, on a less negative note, for some of you, this could just be saying that this is you coming to a realization that, hey, this is the vision that I had of this relationship. Maybe that's not very realistic. And then maybe you're realizing that, yes, I can still get there, but it's going to take a lot of work. And then that could just be the realization that you come to. Either way, the good thing is the card in the position of your influence on the situation is the Magician. So this is a card all about manifestation. And, it makes sense. I mean, you guys have the North Node in your sign. Um, this is eclipse season, so you're going to have that new moon eclipse basically as soon as July starts, I think around the 3rd. So, early on in the month, you're going to have that new moon energy, which are usually powerful. And you guys tend to feel any kind of new moons and full moons more than most signs anyway because you're ruled by the moon. But then on top of that, you make an eclipse. It's like super powered, basically. So that could definitely be what brings this manifestation energy on for you. So that's something to keep in mind. And you guys have the sun at the bottom of the deck. That can be a pretty big deal. Now, given that this is Cancer season, this could just be as simple as pointing out the fact that, the sun is going to be in your sign for the majority of the month, right? But, to me, the combination of these cards are definitely saying that you have that power of manifestation right now. So, hey, whoever it is, a connection that you view, you feel maybe for some of you feel like you learned your lesson and you're ready to move away from it, right? With that Six of Wands energy. For others of you, you might realize, okay, I do want to fix this. I just realize it's going to take work, but you might feel it's worthwhile. Either way, having a Magician in this position is a great card to have because it shows that you have that, pretty much the powers in your hands. So, something to keep in mind there. All right, in the position of the environment's influence on the situation, we have the World card. So, this is a major arcana card that actually points to Saturn energy for me again. So, it could just be as simple as that. Saturn hanging out with the South Node pretty much all throughout June. And, finally with these the eclipse season that might clear those things up. It could just be like a sign of completion for you. Like, okay, these were the last tests that you had to go through in those regards. And now with those things, because what I say usually with the inner planets, like let's say a Mercury retrograde, to me, that's usually about, okay, what do you have to do, right? When you get those retrogrades, what do you have to look at again? What do you have to rework, reconsider? Whereas with the karmic planets, like a Saturn, to me, when they go retrograde, it's more about there's like karmic course correction usually with those transits, in my experience. So this could just be saying, some things that were overdue. Maybe this was like one of those last tests. And like I said, it could have been tough, especially with those Mars oppositions with Mars in your sign. But this could just be saying that whatever lesson needed to be learned, you actually did learn it. You successfully learned it. And now you're pretty much done with that. For those of you who, like I said, if this is someone who used to, maybe be a little uneven in the way that they approach the connection with you, and maybe even starting conflicts and whatnot for like a power dynamic. Maybe this is even them learning their lesson and saying now, okay, I can't keep going about things that way. You're not going for that anymore. So maybe they're realizing that they have to level up as well. And then for me personally, I actually view this as a North Node card, and this is a South Node card. So that's pretty significant too, because like I said, with these eclipses especially, and even the Mars transit, the North Node and South Node positions, and North Node in Cancer, South Node in Capricorn, pretty significant theme for you guys. Pretty much for about another year, I think, before it moves on. But yeah. In the hopes or fears position, we have the Lovers card. So this is actually a Gemini major arcana card. So could just be as simple as saying some of you are hoping. I'm going to assume the Lovers card in this position is a hope and not a fear. So, some of you could be hoping to connect with a Gemini. This could just be saying that you're hoping for a different kind of love connection. For example, if we look at the difference between the Devil and the Lovers, right? I mean, looks like it could be the same two people realistically, but then we see these two are chained together. These two are not chained together, right? This is all dark in the background. Here we have the sunlight. So, this could just be saying now if you did break out of a karmic relationship, now you're hoping for the real deal, basically, right? Like, okay, I learned my lesson, I'm done with this. Now I want, something more positive to come forward. And like I said, for some of you, if this is a dynamic where either you or the other person just weren't going about things the right way and were doing those negative karmic behaviors within the connection, maybe this is you saying that you hope that, okay, I hope that we've grown out of it, right? We got that Six of Cups energy. We reconciled. Hopefully, we could actually get things moving in a more positive manner now. But either way, this is just a hopes or fears position, so it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to play out, but that is at least what's on your mind. All right, and then in the outcome position, you got a few cards that came up. We have the King of Swords, the Knight of Swords, and the Ten of Pentacles. So an interesting combination of cards. The King of Swords, that's actually technically a card for Aquarius, typically. So, there's nothing really going on in Aquarius right now, but that is your 8th house. So it could be about 8th house matters. So, for example, maybe for some of you there's an inheritance. Maybe some of this, especially with the Justice card, maybe that's even what some of this is about. Maybe you actually find out that you're getting some kind of inheritance that maybe was held up for a while, or maybe it just completely came out of the blue. You didn't know that someone had left you something. That could be how that's playing out. The Knight of Swords is actually a card of Gemini, but what stands out to me with this could just be pointing out the fact that we're going to have that Mercury retrograde. Let me see exactly. I think it starts about a week into July, I think, is when it actually goes retrograde. And so I'm looking at the fact that the night energy is moving to the left. So that almost to me is like a retrograde, as opposed to moving forward to the right. It's like moving backward. So this could just be pointing to a timeline, saying that when Mercury goes retrograde, because the first thing it's going to do is it's going to square Uranus, and Uranus rules Aquarius. So that could be why these two cards came up this way. And maybe that's a timing as far as if this is an inheritance, or quite frankly, for some of you, especially it's your birthday, there's a eclipse that'll be a few days before that. Maybe buy a lottery ticket or two. Don't go crazy with it, but I could definitely see that potentially being what's going on there, because that Uranus and Mercury square combined with that Ten of Pentacles could just bring a sudden shift in your finances. So obviously, not all of you are going to win the lottery. That'd be pretty awesome if you did. But for at least some of you, like I said, don't go crazy, but maybe throw a couple bucks towards some lottery tickets around, let's say, maybe between the 5th and the 10th, So not even the whole month, just early on in the month. And maybe you win a little bit of money. But if you do, feel free to throw me a few bucks too. I won't get mad at that. All right. As far as the Oracle cards, the first one you guys got is not for you. So this was the one that I was looking at when I was like, okay, well, this might actually be a little bit contradictory to the main spread and the theme of that spread. So we'll see if that's the case or not. But there's the artwork for it. And that's another number 6, actually. So you have a lot of 6 energy, which is actually pretty stable. Technically, the Devil's 6. 6 of Cups there, the 6 of Wands, the Lovers is a 6. So that's a lot of stable energy. So you're probably ready for that, because like I said, I'm sure, for you guys, having Mars in your sign was probably a bit rough, and it's still there basically until July. So for those of you who see this right when I post it, it'll still be in Mars. And then it's, like I said, right now it's basically opposing Saturn. It will be opposing Pluto a few days after that. So, you just might be done and ready for some stability after all that. But yeah, let's see what these messages have to say. So, okay, it says essential meanings. A clear knowing that something is being denied you. Rejection is God's protection. The Oracle's message. There are times when it appears that no matter how deeply You desire something. No matter how hard you work at something, the result you seek always seems to elude you. It's as if you don't really get to be in the game, and you feel you're just watching from the sidelines. The appearance of this card indicates that you are not going to attain what you want right now, that indeed your dreams for that exact thing will not be fulfilled. This is a time to radically accept that not everything is available to you when you want it. Take heart, for there are benevolent forces who desire the best for you and have a much clearer idea of what is for your highest good. Rejection is God's protection. Something much better that will make you truly happy is on its way. Trust this. So that's interesting there. The only thing that really makes me think about that was, like I was saying, for those of you, if you had this overly idealized vision of a relationship dynamic, it could just be saying that, okay, this is how you envision things going. And then, like I said, with that Hermit card in the near future with the Ten of Wands underneath that, maybe that's you coming to a more realistic view of, okay, yeah, I can get that, but it's going to take some work, right? Whether it be with an existing person or someone new altogether. But, I don't know if that's going to resonate with all of you. Like I said, it does seem to be quite a different message from the main spread overall. But let's see what the relationship message says. It says, some relationships carry an innate seed of failure in them that is obvious from the beginning, but the red flags escape your observation or you refuse to acknowledge them. When a relationship is not meant to be, it is not possible to make it be. Rejection is a sign that you're being protected by the divine. If you are the one who must reject another, remember that you do so for both your sakes. For every pot there is a lid. This one may not be the best fit. So, that could be, again, going to, like I was saying, for some of you that with that Six of Cups energy and then the Seven of Pentacles in the obstacle position, that could just be saying, whether someone comes back to you and you decide to yourself, well, I don't know, is it worth putting in the work? Because you might feel like it's just a repetitive cycle, and that's how those devil karmic connections can feel, like you're just repeating the same lesson over and over until you finally get it and move forward. And like I said, with the eclipse season for you guys this month, that could definitely help if that's what you've been stuck in, like a repetitive cycle like that. But, that could just be saying that that's what it is. Or maybe even, it could be the other person that feels that way for some of you. But most likely, I feel like this is more in your control, especially with the Magician and your position of your influence on the situation. The prosperity message says you can strategize and project and systemize and invest all your time and energy, but sometimes your best laid plans seem to go awry in spite of it all. Keep in mind that no effort is wasted. Fail fast and learn from defeat. Then keep going. You will eventually succeed, although perhaps not at this game, not at this time. Know when to fold your cards. So, I know we didn't talk much about prosperity in general anyway, other than, like I was saying, with the Ten of Pentacles there, but, maybe for some of you guys that'll resonate, but I'm not really seeing anything in the main spread that points to that. Like I said, what I see here, yeah, especially with the World card, that can be completions, but definitely seems to be more of a positive variety if that is the case. So, we do have more Oracle cards to look at. We'll see. Maybe this was just one of those things where this was a message for a few of you, and then we'll see if these messages align more with the main spread, or maybe they'll also be completely different. We'll see. But first one you guys got, this is from the Spirit Animal Oracle deck. You guys got Elephant Spirit, and it says learn from the past. The number there is 25, if that has any significance for you. Alright, it says, although we often wish we could leave the past behind, Elephant Spirit reminds us that memory matters. We must respect the wisdom of the elders who hand down to us traditions they have shaped to express our connection to each other and respect for the community. What has come before informs what we are experiencing today, and we must never forget our legacy of strength and dignity. Elephant Spirit appears with the message that we are to acknowledge that which came before and learn from it. All of us are memory-based creatures, and we must revisit the past to understand where we are and where we are going. The stories of events you've experienced, the stories in our collective memory, and the stories of relationships you have had can be told in many ways. What story will you tell? Elephant Spirit is here to encourage you to make it one that stirs in you a sense of power and dignity, for you have honored yourself by choosing to learn from your past. Spirit rejoices at your willingness to learn and grow. So for some of you, to me, that definitely seems to resonate with the spread as far as learning from your past. Like I was saying, that devil connection in the past and maybe breaking away from that with that Six of Wands, the magician energy showing that you're ready to manifest, the world card and the environment showing, successful completion of a lesson and learning. And like I said, the astrology definitely supports that as well with these eclipses that you'll be going through. So hopefully you guys got something from that message. And then the other oracle card we got was Coyote Spirit. It says, trust in divine detours. There's the artwork for it. And the number for this one is 16. And it's worth noting that actually 16 is also the number of the Tower card in Tarot. So divine detours, it could just be saying that maybe there's some kind of sudden shift for some of you. The oracle message says, do you find that you are being led on a strange detour in your life right now? Does it seem that what appears to be the next right action and the right choice, best situation, or fabulous relationship unexpectedly turns into the opposite, or just disappears into thin air as if you've been tricked? Coyote Spirit's trickster energy is designed to bring you into situations to teach you lessons you have forgotten to learn. Perhaps you need a taste of failure before you experience success, a need to feel disappointment before you can truly appreciate the joy, love, and prosperity that is coming up for you. Perhaps you are revisiting a pattern you forgot wasn't in alignment with the life you are intending to co-create, being reminded that gratitude, not complacency, will keep you awake and aware of all that is available to you in this moment. Coyote Spirit reminds you to laugh about the unexpected twist, to develop humility and gratitude while releasing your attachments to the form of your desires. Even when you suddenly find yourself on a detour, wondering when you will get back on track to manifesting what you desire, remember that Spirit has a plan and wants the best for you. Trust in divine order now. Coyote Spirit is a divine helper. No matter what seems to go astray, things are exactly as they are supposed to be. So, to me, that message actually sounds a little bit similar to that first one that we were talking about. So, for some of you, this definitely is going to be one of those things where I feel like it could just be that you're working on different timelines, where I feel like for some of you, you're actually having that success breaking away from things that you were no longer supposed to be a part of. And for others of you, maybe you're having a bit more difficulty with that. But, I mean, the main impression I get, especially like I said, keep in mind you have the magician in your position. This is actually a great month to break away from those things, especially with the support of the eclipse energies. So if there's something that you realize you were long overdue to get away from, or like I said, maybe you're seeing things differently now, more clearly with that hermit in the near future. Like I said, maybe something you thought was more like a 10 of cups is actually more like a 10 of wands, then you could actually act accordingly. So something to keep in mind there. All right, and then finally, like I said, you guys got 2 mudra cards this month. That's a first. So basically what I've been doing, for those of you who haven't followed my channel, I've been pulling mudra cards for each of the signs every month. And what mudras are is they're actually hand gestures. Like this is one of the ones you guys got here. And you actually basically hold them while meditating, usually for a minimum of 5 minutes. And their purpose is to help clear blockages. So sometimes they'll be more on the mental, emotional level, but sometimes even on a physical level, they can help clear blockages. And the first one you guys got is Vayu mudra, and the keyword for it is serenity. This is the actual pose itself or gesture. And I'll turn the card around so you guys get to see some additional info on it. Get it to focus. Alright, hold on. There we go. Alright. So yeah, if you guys want to just pause it or take a screenshot, you can, just to read some of the information for it there. Then I'll actually move it up a bit too so you could see the rest of the information on it. But yeah, under benefits, you see it says balances vata dosha, reduces gas, bloating, and belching, relieves headache, reduces symptoms of paralysis, treats diseases such as polio, gout, arthritis, sciatica, and muscular trembling, as is common in Parkinson's disease. So this one definitely is more for physical ailments, but hopefully some of you guys can get something from that. And I'll also put the name of this mudra in the description if you wanted to look into that a bit more. I know cancers sometimes do have stomach problems, so at least some of you out there might get something from that. And then the second mudra we got, this is the actual gesture here, and this is the Bhairava mudra. The keyword for this one is fierceness. And we'll look at the additional info on this card. Okay, and then I'll move this up in case you wanted to get the rest of the info. And yeah, for this one, you see it says calms the mind, serves as an aid to meditation, cuts ego clinging, and imparts the courage needed to fully embrace life as it is. So, same with this one. Like I said, I'll put the name of this in the description as well. Like I said, don't forget, check out the description for info on how to enter in for that free reading as well. Happy birthday once again, and I'll see you guys next month. All right, bye.